Hello, I am just coming on here to discuss briefly kind of my theme of the week, which is the topic of God and spirituality. Now, to be honest, I'm thinking about God and spirituality all the time, but just this week in particular, I've been thinking about this question, which I wanted to share with you and get your feedback. But what is God like for you? Now, obviously, if you don't believe in God, this may not be the question for you, but if you feel a connection to God, universe, energy, put your whatever name you want to call it, what is God like? How do you experience God? And I think that's a really interesting question. Kids experience God in really magical, mystical ways. I know a lot of people tend to experience God in nature when they're on hikes or when they're at a mountaintop or just something that's really overwhelmingly beautiful, maybe watching the ocean, the waves. And so, why do we care about this question? Because I think it really informs how we view the world, right? So, for me, I've come to really grow in my understanding of God, and I am a believer in God being so expansive and so big that I can't really describe God, which may sound like I'm evading the question, but really, I just believe that God is everywhere. God is love. God is all the good things in the universe. So, with that understanding for me, I feel like the world is a good place. I feel safe and secure knowing that there's a force of goodness underlying it all. That's my belief. And so my question, what is God like, I think can inform your own, beliefs about how you view people, how you view the world. And I think this question is really important because I think a lot of people view God as someone that's very, usually it's a person. It's like a, old white guy, but very angry, very, punitive and, will smite you. And I just imagine that having that really harsh view of the creator, the force, the energy of life would cause you to think differently about your fellow humans, about taking care of the earth, about things like that. So it's just an interesting starting place, I think, for when we talk about how different we are with people, is starting from this foundation. What do you think God is like? And so I encourage you to think about that. Maybe even write something down. Maybe your views have changed since you were, 10 and you thought about that kind of grandpa figure sitting on a throne. Maybe that's not what you believe anymore, but you really haven't taken the time to think about that. And so I think it's a very interesting thought experiment and also maybe a step towards feeling compassion towards other people, because when we have these foundational views, they're probably from childhood, they're probably from something that happened early on. And so I know for me, I can get really upset with people who believe that God is really angry and mean. I said, why would you believe that? That's so terrible. But that's just how they were raised. That's something that is, that they've kind of got a background of their own. Surprise, surprise. And that's not something I should be so quick to judge and be harsh towards. Judging is not a good look. I'm working on it. But it's also helpful for me to remind myself that I've gone through an evolution of my beliefs in God. And I imagine it will keep evolving. So the thought for the day, what is God like? How does that inform your worldview? And how can we be compassionate towards other people with different worldviews by just understanding that we all have our own journeys to go on? All right, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.